how do you deal with the private class logistics? What are the different challenges that you face, and how do you ensure that our private classes are running effectively like boot camp and regular classes?
Mm-hmm. Private classes, you don't have as much control over them because you're not physically there making sure that everyone's checked in a certain way, that everyone's been given their documentation. So when we're delivering private classes, we have to run a really tight ship. We have to make sure that we're all on board with what processes that need to happen, and everything's in place and we follow them. We do work off of what we call a class planning document, and it's basically an itemized checklist. I consider every private class like it's its own project. So I basically have an entire team of project managers, because that really is what it is. Every class that we deliver, especially the offsite ones, you have to treat like a project. You have to figure out the location logistics. You have to right away talk to the point of contact for the class. When you're talking to the point of contact, you're assessing the various items that you might need to figure out ahead of time. If we're sending equipment like laptops, what kind of training room are we going to be in? Is the client providing it, or do we have to find an off-site location? If the client's providing it, do they have internet access? Is internet access needed? Is there a whiteboard? I mean, you'd be surprised what people could overlook, because you're so used to, I would just expect a training room to have a whiteboard and an instructor desk and a projector. Guess what? Not all training rooms have that. So you have to make sure, and it's on the list. You've got to make sure you go through the list and you ask all sorts of questions, because what you don't want to find out on the first day of training is that you sent laptops and there's one outlet in that entire room, because that is devastating to figure out at the last minute. So, we have a checklist in place that we go through, and we make sure all of these questions are asked. And the point of contact really doesn't mind spending the first hour on the phone with us answering these questions, because they know this is a customized service that we're delivering, and we care enough that we're going to spend this kind of time asking these questions, because we want it to go perfectly. We want it to be smooth. And believe me, the point of contacts, they're usually the project managers on their end. They care about the same details. They're detail-oriented as well.
And their job is also probably on the line.
Yeah, so they're willing to talk to us. So after all of this assessing, we do put a lot of responsibility on our instructors. And what that means is our instructors are obviously the NetCom representatives. If my training team can't be there to check everyone in, to take attendance, to hand out evaluations, to do temperature checks, to make sure, do you know what I mean? If my training team can't be there to assess the classroom from a standpoint that we assess our classrooms here, then I have to ask my instructor to be responsible for that. So it's really all about communication, and the best possible communication yields the best possible results. So our instructor steps into that role, and they make sure that all of these odds and ends in the classroom happen. There's obviously communication back and forth throughout the week for us to see what's going on, how everything is going. We do touch base with the point of contacts. It's a customized service, so it's different from what we do in our locations. We have to overthink, we have to overplan, we have to overcommunicate, because we want to make sure everything's perfect upon delivery.